Welcome back to Meg's Mysteries. This story's called The Snoop Sisters Revived. Did you hear something? Mabel said. Turn that music down and listen. Aggie tells her, I didn't hear anything. Of course you didn't with that loud rock and roll music. Now listen, I hear somebody calling for help, Mabel says. Aggie turns the record player off and they both go to the window. Aggie opens it. Now they both hear a cry for help. It sounds like Uncle Ronald, and it's coming from downstairs in the bookstore. The sisters both live upstairs from their uncle's rare bookstore, reads rare books and manuscripts. He had quite a rare collection, and is always afraid of someone breaking in to steal it. They run downstairs and find him on the floor, blood gashed on his head, but he's awake. He yells, They ran out the back. Aggie calls the police and 911. The EMT comes and the police. Uncle Ronald is yelling, They took it, my priceless collection on the witchcraft and wild winds. The story of witches that lived here for centuries. I knew they would find it and get their hands on it. Mabel tells him to calm down and let the EMT work on him. We'll take you to the hospital and they'll check you all out. No, I must see what that was missing, he yelled. Mabel says, I'll check it out for you, and the police will take fingerprints and evidence. Just go get checked out. The police ask him what happened. He tells them, I was in the back where I have my small apartment. I heard a noise and came out. Then I was hit in the back of the head. But I saw somebody in black go out the back. I know it was those witches. They're after the rare books and manuscripts I keep. Later at the hospital, Uncle was fine to get released. Mabel and Aggie pick him up. He asks, Did you see what was taken? Mabel said, You are right. All your information and books and manuscripts are gone on the witches of Wildwind. All their history. The police made a report. No fingerprints on anything. He said, I knew it. Thank you, girls. You're the best. Always there for me. Of course, Uncle. We're here for you. And thank you for calling us old ladies girls. You'll always be my little girls, he said. He's always taken care of both of them since they lost their parents when they were 5 and 6. He even helped name them after Miss Marvel and Agatha Christie. Both retired teachers. Mabel was a history teacher, and Aggie was an art teacher. Now they're way into their 70s. But they're well known for being amateur detectives, and their nickname from the police is the Snoop Sisters, just like their favorite 1973 mystery show, The Snoop Sisters, with Helen Hayes and Mildred Natwick. They're always putting their 2 cents in the mystery cases in the little town of Wildwind. The little town has many mysteries, and they love to get into the thick of things and try to help out the police. In the past, they were always right with their deductions and help finding the criminals and solving the mysteries. The police and detectives don't like to say it, but the girls do help in their way to solve crimes. But don't tell them that. Now it's personal, and they'll have to get to the bottom of it. No matter what Detective Brady says, he always tells them, let us do our job and stay out of it. But he smiles and knows they won't leave it alone. They help Uncle Ronald put the store back in shape, and they log all the things that are missing. Only the history of the witches of Wildwind, and all the information was taken. But they left a mess while they were finding it. The whole display was gone, books everywhere. But Uncle knew where everything was, and he knew who took it. There is a cult following, and the Coven of 13 still practicing in the town. But they want their history and magic hidden. Most of the town just lets them be, and they don't want to cause any problems. Like in the past, many strange things happen due to their influence. And if someone goes into their world or causes them grief, they take things in their own hands. Mabel and Aggie come in contact with them before. They helped solve a big mystery. When a young reporter was missing, he was working on their story and getting too involved with their rituals. He was found wandering around the woods and didn't know who he was or where he was. The sisters found out it was due to a spell the coven put on him. But it was never prosecuted. The town just let it die out, and the reporter just left it alone. He didn't want any more trouble. He just left and never came back. Mabel and Aggie and Uncle Ronald knew the truth, and Uncle had proof of the ancestry and practices even today. Well, in his late 80s, he now has been a follower and collects all he could about them. The coven was here from the start. He had many books and information and manuscripts. It was like a compulsion, like an addiction. He had to collect it all for prosperity and the real truth and his own story. His family had ties to them in the past, and the witches wanted it all not to be revealed. But why now, after all these years, did they steal it? He was only keeping it safe and never selling it or revealing their secrets. Now the police have more information. Detective Brady came by. "Hello, Miss Marble and Miss Aggie. We have another report of a break-in, and things have been taken. It happened last night around the same time your uncle was hurt and broken into. Reed's real books and manuscripts was not only one hit. The Wildwind Museum was also broken into, but no one was hurt. The security guard was the only one there, and he saw nothing or no one. Then he heard a noise in the rare artifacts of the city, and it was the witchcraft section. He went there, and he said he felt funny and in a daze, like someone put him in a state of slow motion. He couldn't move or react in time. Then he saw a shadow figure leaving, walking right past him. He claimed someone put a spell on him. We got the alarm call and found him still standing there in a daze. The museum has us on call if anyone tries to come in after hours. It must have triggered when they opened the door to leave." "What was taken?" Mabel said. Aggie said, "I bet it was something that the witches needed. What are they up to now?" Detective Brady said, "The only thing missing are artifacts of the witches of Wildwind, a book on raising the dead and spell book, and encased in a glass case. The alarms never were activated, like they just vanished or someone just opened the case and took them, but never triggered the alarm." Aggie said, "Or used magic." Mabel agreed. "They're up to something, and it's big. Raising the dead book and spells. What was the artifact taken?" Detective Brady said, "The museum coordinator said it was something Penelope Crane owned. She was the first witch in our town, the head witch of the first coven. Then the cemetery called us, a prowler, and then the grave of Penelope Crane had been disturbed. She was buried outside the cemetery, not on consecrated grounds, because she was a witch. Her bones are missing." "I see," Maple said. "They must be trying to resurrect her. She was the most powerful one of them all, and these new modern witches, they needed something from her. Her magic was the most powerful, but why do they need it now?" Detective Brady gets another call. "Someone broke into the family, Crane family, the first family that discovered the town of Wildwinds in the 16th century. They were distant relatives of Penelope Crane and had many of her things on display in their family home. Her pendant was taken. It was said to hold magical properties, and she always wore it, kept it close to her heart, until her death at the hand of the witch hunters, who claimed her a dark witch and put her to death. The family was saved only because their wealth and being the first family of the town. The elder and her uncle Maxwell Crane let her be put to death, saving himself and his family. They let her be taken away and put to death. They turned their backs on their own niece. 12 other girls were also taken, but freed. They were her coven, and it was at the end of the witch hunt in Wildwinds. They kept her memory, the coven, alive still to this day. These modern witches are followers of her. They want to raise her from the dead. Mabel asked Uncle Ronald to tell her all he knows about the witches, their covenant, and the history. So he shared with them the things he found out all through the years. He told them, "Your parents and our grandparents were related somehow to the Cranes, and Penelope herself, and our ancestors all came here to form the town. They were on the same ship from England, so we have a connection. That is why I was so involved and drawn into their history, magic spells and all. That's why I hid it all here, not to be shown. The witches have been eyeing my findings and wanting them. The witch Haviland and her favorite follower, Madeline, came to me herself, proclaiming she was the one to have the books and manuscripts and will keep them safe. But I felt her greed. She was up to something evil. Now we know what it is. She wants to raise Penelope back to life, and she has the means to do it now, with all the artifacts and the know-how and the pendant. We have to stop her. Mabel and Aggie, you have to go to the convent. They will listen to you, and they will have to stop her with your help. You are related to the first witches by blood. Your mother was a Crane on her mother's side." So the Snoop sisters went to the other members of the coven when Haviland and Madeline weren't around. The others listened to them, and they're good witches, but they were following their lead. She said it was good for the coven to get more power. Haviland had no power, and she did show signs of greed, and she was the one who came up with the idea, raising Penelope from the dead. She had Madeline help her. So the sisters disguised themselves and went to the ritual of the dead. The other witches helped them and wanted to stop Haviland before she could finish. But it was too late. Penelope did appear. She was a powerful good witch and knew Haviland was just trying to bring black magic and take over the town. She was stopped by the one person who could stop her, Penelope herself, and the others of the coven. The Nightingale sisters also had a power, and they never knew of. They helped also. They were not just mere snoops and sloops. They had a little magic of their own. Penelope didn't have to put a spell or destroy Haviland. She just told her to stop, and Madeline. They were both arrested for stealing the artifacts and the manuscripts. All things were given back to the rightful owners, and the keepers liked Uncle Ronald for safekeeping. Penelope vanished after her bones were buried again in the cemetery on sacred grounds, this time. The coven now gained 2 more new members. The Snoop sisters are now part of their family, good witches of Wildwind. And they're not just 2 amateur detectives now, but true members of the town's first families. Mabel and Aggie told Detective Brady, "Don't worry, we're not too busy to help you out on any new cases. Crime solving will be our passion forever." He just smiled and said, "I can always count on you 2 ladies. Thanks for the help. I guess witchcraft is real. And in our little town, I thought it was old wives' tale. Mabel and Aggie, take care. I do hope this was the last case you have to solve for me." The girls just smiled and said, "We will see. Until next time." I hope you enjoyed this little story. Come back for more on Meg's Mysteries. Until next time, enjoy your evening.